Have you ever sat down at the breakfast table fork in hand and wondered if the food on your plate might actually be making you weaker instead of stronger? For decades, men across America have been told that a bowl of cereal, a slice of toast, maybe even a glass of orange juice, is the gold standard of a healthy start. But what if those very habits, so ordinary, so familiar, are quietly draining your energy, slowing your legs, and stealing the confidence you once carried without thinking? It's an unsettling thought, because no one wants to imagine that something as harmless as breakfast could be the hidden reason they feel sluggish by midday, or why they notice changes in circulation where it matters most. I've listened to countless men confide that they assumed age was the culprit. They believed it was simply natural, that their stride grew heavier, that their focus faded by afternoon, or that their intimate vitality had slipped away. They never once questioned the eggshell-coloured bowl of flakes or the daily buttered toast that had been their routine for years. And that's why the truth feels almost cruel. At first, the body doesn't give up nearly as quickly as we think. More often than not, it's the choices on the breakfast plate that do the giving up for us. The problem is that no one talks about it openly. Men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s often shoulder these frustrations silently. They don't want to admit to their partners, their kids, even their doctors, that they feel tired before the day has really begun. But I've seen the look in their eyes when someone finally tells them, "It's not just your age. You are not broken. Your body still knows how to respond." That look is part relief, part disbelief, because the idea that a few small adjustments could restore strength and circulation sounds too simple to be true. And yet time and again, I've watched it happen. Imagine starting the morning, not with a creeping fog in your head and a heaviness in your legs, but with a sense of lightness that carries through the afternoon. Picture feeling warmth in your hands, steadiness in your energy, and a quiet confidence that returns little by little each week. The solution doesn't come from a prescription bottle or a complicated procedure. It doesn't live in some expensive supplement you've never heard of. It comes from food you could pick up at your grocery store today, foods so ordinary, you've probably walked past them without a second thought. I'm Dr. Lynn Snyderman, and for over 2 decades I've helped men rediscover what their bodies are capable of, sometimes within days, often within weeks, by making changes that are practical, affordable, and surprisingly effective. And here's what I want you to know right now: age is not your enemy. Habit is. When you break the habits that slowly tighten your arteries, starve your circulation, and dull your mornings, you discover that your body is still eager to perform. It's easy to assume that strength, stamina, and confidence belong to the past. But I'm here to tell you that they don't have to. In fact, the first step toward reclaiming them could be sitting in your kitchen at this very moment. So let's take a closer look at the simple foods, 5 in particular that science has shown can open your blood vessels, feed your muscles, and jumpstart the very energy you thought was gone. The first one may surprise you, because chances are you've seen it 100 times and never realized it was your body's hidden ally. When you've spent years believing your body is slowly betraying you, it can be hard to imagine that the truth is far less grim. The truth is that your body hasn't abandoned you. It's been waiting quietly for the right fuel to remind it how to thrive. I've seen so many men look at me across the exam room, shoulders heavy with resignation, convinced that decline is the only road ahead. They talk about how their mornings start with sluggishness, how their afternoons collapse into fatigue, how intimacy feels like a memory instead of a living part of their lives. And when I tell them that age isn't the villain here, I see the spark of disbelief flicker into hope. That hope is the most important shift of all, because it means they're ready to hear what comes next. My name is Dr. Lynn Snyderman, and for more than 20 years, I've worked with men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, men who thought their best years were behind them. What I've learned is this: our bodies don't simply shut down after a certain birthday. They adapt, they wait, and they respond if we give them the chance. But too often, the first hour of the day is when that chance is stolen. What you put on your plate when the sun is barely up shapes the way your heart pumps blood, how your arteries expand, how your muscles receive oxygen, and even how your confidence feels when you need it most. Breakfast isn't just a meal, it's a message. And the message so many men are sending their bodies is one of surrender, even if they don't realize it. That is why I want to reframe the way you think about those first bites each morning. Forget the idea that age alone explains your fatigue or your fading circulation. Age is not the enemy. Indifference is. Repetition is. The toast, the sugary cereal, the glass of juice that seemed harmless, even healthy, become habits that slowly chip away at your energy. And because they are familiar, because they feel normal, they remain unquestioned for years. The quiet damage builds, and men assume it's just time marching on. But I've watched the reversal again and again when those same men make a small but powerful change. Within days, they begin to notice lighter steps, warmer hands, a steadier stream of energy that carries them past noon without that dreaded crash. The science behind this isn't complicated. At the heart of vitality is circulation, the ability of your blood vessels to widen and deliver oxygen, nutrients, and life itself to every part of you. The key molecule that makes this possible is called nitric oxide. It tells your arteries to relax, to open, to allow blood to flow freely. But here's the catch: after 60, your body produces less of it naturally. That's one reason you feel slower, why performance of all kinds seems harder. And yet the foods you choose can directly restore it, amplifying your body's ability to keep blood moving. You don't need expensive powders or complicated procedures. You need ordinary foods, when chosen wisely, that speak directly to the biology you still carry inside you. I'm not asking you to turn your life upside down or give up every food you enjoy. What I'm suggesting is far simpler. Swap out one choice for another, shift one habit at a time, and let those shifts compound. Because here's the part that still amazes me: even after decades of practice, the benefits don't take months to appear. Sometimes they show up in hours, sometimes in a week. I've seen men rediscover their energy so quickly that they're stunned it came from something as simple as changing breakfast. And once they feel it, once they understand, it isn't fantasy, but biology. They no longer see themselves as men who are too old to fight back. They see themselves as men who still have choices. That is what I want you to take away. Right now. Your body has not quit on you. It's not broken beyond repair. It's not demanding perfection or punishment. It's asking for the right tools. And those tools are sitting on the shelves of your grocery store, waiting to be part of your morning. In the minutes ahead, I'm going to share 5 foods that research has proven can reignite circulation, fuel your muscles, and wake up energy you thought had left for good. These are not exotic superfoods or pricey supplements. They are ordinary, everyday items that, when used strategically, become extraordinary in their impact. So let's take the first step together. Imagine pushing aside the toast, ignoring the cereal box, letting the juice glass stay empty. Imagine replacing them with something that sets your arteries free, that gives your body permission to feel alive again. It's not about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming vitality at the stage of life you're in. And the journey begins with the very first food on our list, a leafy green. You've probably seen 1,000 times, but never realized could change your circulation in just a matter of hours. You've heard me say that the first hour of your day can either build you up or quietly hold you back. Now it's time to step into the specifics, and we begin with a food so ordinary you've probably walked past it in the produce aisle without giving it a second thought. Spinach. Most people think of it as a boring side salad or the cartoon food that gave Popeye his muscles. But what spinach really offers men in their 60s and 70s is something far more important than bulging biceps. It offers circulation, the kind that makes your legs feel lighter, your energy steadier, and yes, even your confidence under the belt line stronger. Here's why. Spinach is rich in natural compounds called nitrates. The moment you eat them, your body gets to work, converting those nitrates into nitric oxide, a gas your blood vessels desperately need. Nitric oxide is the signal that tells your arteries to relax, to widen, to allow blood to move freely. And when blood flows, everything feels different. Your legs don't drag, your energy doesn't collapse by noon, and circulation, where you need it most, becomes more reliable. Now here's the twist that so many men overlook after 60, your body simply doesn't make as much nitric oxide on its own. That natural decline is a hidden reason why stamina falls, why performance feels weaker, and why mornings feel heavier than they should. But spinach bypasses that problem. It feeds a separate pathway, almost like opening a second highway when the main road is jammed. Suddenly, blood can move again. The science is remarkable. A single serving of spinach can provide more than 800 milligrams of nitrates, more than most other vegetables combined. Clinical research, including studies from the American Heart Association, shows that eating spinach improves something called flow-mediated dilation, a fancy term for how well your arteries open up when they're supposed to. Researchers have found spinach can lower blood pressure and improve vessel flexibility within hours of eating it. And these aren't just numbers on a chart. They are changes you can feel. Imagine starting your morning with a smoothie that includes 2 cups of fresh spinach. Within 2 or 3 hours, nitric oxide levels peak, and your body begins moving blood with greater ease. That means the rest of your morning and afternoon unfold on a foundation of stronger circulation. I think about Robert, one of my patients who was 62 when he came to me. He confessed that he dragged himself through the day, his legs feeling like lead, his energy flat, and his confidence in the bedroom slipping further each month. He had accepted it as the price of aging. But when he swapped out his usual toast and cereal for a smoothie loaded with spinach, something remarkable happened. Within 3 weeks, Robert told me, "I feel lighter. I feel like myself again." His steps were easier, his afternoons steadier, and the spark he thought was gone forever began to return. All from a handful of leaves he had ignored in the grocery store for years. And the best part, spinach isn't exotic, it isn't expensive, and it doesn't require complicated recipes. You can toss a handful into scrambled eggs, blend it into a smoothie, saute it with a drizzle of olive oil and garlic. However you use it, your body responds. And because the effect peaks just a few hours after you eat it, breakfast is the perfect time. Start your day with spinach, and you're priming your circulation for everything that follows. It isn't about building cartoon muscles. It's about keeping the vessels that feed your energy, your mobility, and your confidence open and active the way they're meant to be. Spinach may look like an ordinary leafy green, but for men past 60, it can be the difference between trudging through the day and walking with a sense of vitality. That's why it's the first food on my list. It's simple, affordable, and powerful. And once you understand how it works, you start to see breakfast differently, not as a routine, but as a tool. Because the truth is, this is just the beginning. There are other foods that don't just support circulation directly, but also work in surprising ways through your gut to protect your blood vessels and amplify everything spinach sets in motion. Let's take a closer look at one of those combinations, Greek yogurt paired with berries, and see how together they create a powerful, unexpected boost for your circulation. You've just seen how spinach opens the door to better circulation, and how yogurt with berries builds a healthier foundation through your gut. By now, you can already imagine the difference those small choices make in the way blood moves, energy rises, and confidence begins to return. But circulation isn't only about opening arteries, it's also about keeping them supple, flexible, and ready to respond. That's where the next morning choice comes in. and it's one that many men have dismissed as nothing more than a passing food trend. I'm talking about avocado. For years, it's been mocked as the topping for hipster toast, something flashy and overpriced, but the truth is much more powerful. For men in their 60s and beyond, avocado is not a fad. It's one of the most underestimated tools to keep blood vessels youthful and energy steady. What makes avocado so special isn't complicated. It's packed with monounsaturated fats, the kind of good fats that act like natural lubrication for your arteries. Think of it this way: when your blood vessels are stiff, it's like trying to pump water through rigid pipes. The flow is harder, the pressure higher, and your heart has to strain. But when those vessels are supple, they expand and contract with ease, letting blood move smoothly and efficiently. That's what avocado helps create: a body where circulation doesn't fight against itself. And there's another gift hiding inside each green: half potassium. Too much sodium is one of the silent culprits behind constricted arteries and high blood pressure. Potassium acts as the balance, relaxing vessels and easing that pressure. For men who want steadier energy and stronger circulation, that balance is everything. I think of Frank, who came to me at 59. He'd always waved off avocados as fancy guacamole food and never bothered to try them. But he was tired of his heavy legs and the crash that hit him every afternoon like clockwork. I asked him to try something simple: half an avocado spread on whole grain toast with a squeeze of lemon each morning. He raised an eyebrow but agreed. 2 weeks later, he came back, grinning. His steps felt lighter. He wasn't collapsing into his chair mid-afternoon, and he said, "Doctor, I think this green thing is actually working." What struck me wasn't just the physical change, it was how quickly his perspective shifted once he realized his body still knew how to respond. Avocado doesn't demand fancy recipes. Slice it on toast, mash it into a quick spread, or drop half into a morning smoothie. Better still, when you eat it in the morning, your body absorbs its fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K, more efficiently. Those vitamins protect your vessels, support your immune system, and help maintain stable energy all day. And if you want to boost the effect even more, pair avocado with vitamin C, like a handful of berries or an orange slice, because vitamin C enhances the absorption of nutrients and makes circulation benefits even stronger. Now here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. You might think circulation-friendly foods have to be bland or boring, but one of the most surprising allies is something people usually call a guilty pleasure: dark chocolate. Not the candy bar loaded with sugar and milk, but true dark chocolate, 70% cocoa or higher. What makes it so powerful is a family of plant compounds called flavonols. These compounds spark your body to release more nitric oxide, the same molecule that spinach helps boost. That means blood vessels open wider, circulation improves, and oxygen and nutrients get delivered more efficiently. Why morning? Because when you wake up, your antioxidant defenses are at their lowest. Your vessels are less responsive. A small square or two of dark chocolate at breakfast restores that responsiveness, almost like turning the lights back on in your circulatory system. Studies show that within 3 hours of eating, blood vessel performance improves measurably. For William, 63, that meant everything. He described his mornings as stiff slow, like walking through mud. I asked him to try something unusual: 1 or 2 small squares of dark chocolate alongside his morning coffee. A week later, he told me he felt smoother, sharper, even more alert. And with a hint of a smile, he added that his circulation in other areas felt more awake too. The key is moderation. Just 1 or 2 small squares are enough to give your vessels the push they need without adding unnecessary calories. But it has to be the real thing: high cocoa, dark chocolate. Milk chocolate or sugar-heavy bars won't deliver the flavonols your body craves. Think of it not as candy, but as a strategic tool, cleverly disguised as dessert. So picture this: You start your day with spinach, smoothing the flow yogurt, and berries, protecting your vessels, avocado, keeping them flexible, and dark chocolate, waking them up. Suddenly, your breakfast isn't just food, it's a carefully tuned engine for your circulation. And while each of these makes a difference on its own, there's one more food long revered since ancient times that delivers an almost immediate effect, warming your hands, lightening your steps, and giving your blood vessels the royal treatment. That food comes in a ruby red package, and its impact can be felt in as little as 30 minutes. You've already seen how spinach unlocks nitric oxide, how yogurt with berries protects your arteries through the gut, how avocado keeps blood vessels supple, and how dark chocolate can wake up circulation in just a few hours. Each of these on its own has the power to make a difference. But now we arrive at a food that feels almost regal, a fruit that has been cherished for centuries as a symbol of vitality and strength, and modern science now proves why. The ruby red jewel I'm talking about is the pomegranate. Kings and warriors once believed its seeds carried stamina and resilience, and today we understand the biology behind that belief. Pomegranates are loaded with polyphenols, potent plant compounds, that not only boost nitric oxide production, but also shield it from being broken down too quickly. That double action means your blood vessels don't just open wider, they stay open longer, delivering steady flow to every corner of your body. What makes pomegranates so remarkable is the speed of their effect. Most foods take days or weeks before you notice a change. Pomegranate juice can show measurable improvements in circulation in as little as 30 minutes. I think of Edward, who was 68 when he came to me. He was frustrated by cold hands and feet, a sluggish circulation that made even short walks feel like a chore, and an energy that never seemed to show up when he needed it. I asked him to add just 4 ounces of pure, unsweetened pomegranate juice to his mornings. Within weeks, he noticed his hands were warmer, his legs lighter, and his energy finally returning. Lab tests confirmed what he was feeling. His blood flow had improved. That small daily ritual had given him back a sense of ease he thought was gone forever. The beauty of pomegranate lies in its versatility. You can pour a small glass of juice, sprinkle the jewel-like seeds over your yogurt, or blend them into a smoothie. However you enjoy it, the result is the same vessels that are stronger, more resilient, and more responsive. And when you add pomegranate to the other foods we've discussed, something even more powerful happens. It isn't just one food working in isolation, it's all of them working together. This is where the story turns from improvement to transformation. Scientists call it synergy. I like to think of it as a symphony. Imagine a trumpet playing alone, it's strong, clear, and stirring. Add a piano, a violin, a drum, and suddenly the sound fills the room bigger and richer than any single instrument could achieve. That's exactly what happens when you combine these foods. The probiotics in yogurt help your body use the nitrates in spinach more effectively, making nitric oxide production even stronger. The vitamin C in berries enhances the flavonols in dark chocolate, giving them greater power to protect your vessels. The healthy fats in avocado improve the absorption of polyphenols from pomegranate juice, amplifying their impact on circulation. And the antioxidants from chocolate berries and pomegranate work together to protect nitric oxide from breaking down, sustaining blood flow longer. Each food supports the others, creating a loop of reinforcement that leaves your body stronger than it would be with any single choice. I think of James, a patient in his 70s, who had resigned himself to fatigue, cold hands, and dwindling confidence. Nothing seemed to help until he committed to a simple morning routine that combined all 5 foods. He blended spinach and berries with Greek yogurt, spread half an avocado on whole grain toast, enjoyed 2 small squares of dark chocolate with his coffee, and finished with a glass of pomegranate juice. 10 days later, he looked at me with a grin and said, "I feel 10 years younger." His steps were lighter, his afternoons steadier, and his mood brighter. For him, it wasn't just about feeling physically stronger, it was about reclaiming the sense that life still had momentum. That is the magic of synergy. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 here. With the right foods, 1 + 1 can equal 5 or even 10. And the benefits don't stop at circulation. When you build this routine into your mornings, you're supporting your heart, protecting your brain, improving your sleep, and strengthening your vitality from the inside out. Some effects come quickly, a sense of warmth, a steadier stride, a clearer mind. Others build quietly over weeks and months, layering into greater stamina, healthier vessels, and deeper confidence. The big picture is this: small choices at breakfast ripple through your entire day. They shape your energy, your mobility, even your independence. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about fueling your body to thrive at 60, 70, or 80. And now that you've seen how each food contributes and how together they create something greater, it's time to bring it all home, to understand how a simple daily habit can become the foundation for lasting strength, confidence, and vitality. By now, you've seen how 5 simple foods, spinach yogurt with berries, avocado, dark chocolate, and pomegranate, each play their part in restoring circulation, rebuilding stamina, and reigniting confidence. You've also seen how, when combined, their effects multiply, becoming something greater than the sum of their parts. But before we finish, I want to leave you with the most important truth of all: your age is not your enemy. Habit is. For years, you may have believed that slowing down, feeling heavy in your legs, struggling with energy, or losing a certain kind of confidence was inevitable. But it isn't. What I've learned after decades of listening to men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond is that decline rarely comes from age alone. It comes from the quiet routines that no one ever questioned. The toast, the cereal, the glass of juice repeated morning after morning until they dull your body's ability to thrive. I've seen what happens when those habits change. It doesn't require dramatic overhauls or punishing diets. It starts with the first hour of your day, with what you choose to put on your plate. And that choice shapes everything that follows. Imagine waking tomorrow and deciding to swap just one item: a smoothie with spinach instead of toast, a bowl of Greek yogurt with berries instead of cereal, half an avocado instead of butter, 2 squares of dark chocolate instead of a sugar-filled pastry, or a glass of pomegranate juice instead of juice from concentrate. Just one of those small changes can start a ripple you'll feel in your steps, in your energy, and even in your sense of self. I've watched men who had nearly given up on their bodies discover that within a week or two, they could walk with more ease, work through their afternoons without crashing, and carry themselves with a quiet strength they thought had vanished. I've seen them surprised by warmth in their hands, by steadier moods, by an energy that felt familiar, as if they had stumbled upon a part of themselves that had been missing. These are not miracles. They are simply the body responding to the right fuel the way it has always been designed to do. Think of where you could be 6 months from now. You could look back with gratitude, knowing you made a choice to act, knowing you gave your body the tools it needed to respond. Or you could look back with regret, realizing that nothing changed because nothing was tried. That decision lies in your hands, and it begins with something as ordinary as breakfast. The beauty is that these foods aren't exotic or expensive. They're already waiting at your grocery store, ready to become part of your morning routine. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to begin. So tomorrow, when you stand in your kitchen and look at your plate, remember this: you are not too old, not too late, not too far gone. Your body still remembers how to answer when you give it the right tools. Start with one choice, one change, and let the momentum build. Notice how you feel, pay attention to the subtle shifts, and allow those small victories to inspire the next step. Because every change you make at breakfast is more than food, It's your daily prescription for vitality, strength, and confidence. And as you take that step, I want you to know, you are not alone. Thousands of men have walked this same path, quietly reclaiming their mornings, and with them their lives. Your story could be the one that inspires someone else to take action, someone who right now is struggling the way you were. That is why I invite you to share your thoughts, to tell me which food speaks to you most, and to leave your story in the comments. Because your journey might be the spark that keeps another man from giving up. If you've found these insights helpful, give this video a like so more people can see it. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next step in building strength and confidence at every age. You are never too old to take back control of your health. Tomorrow's breakfast can be the beginning of something greater, and the only question left is this: what will you choose to put on your plate?